Kevin, Timothy, one very quick thing that I needed to run by you and talk about is since we had the meeting with Spatial Match, we've decided that search listings will be its own page. That being said, this whole featured listings idea won't work because we couldn't be able to pull it from their API, which is essentially their embedded application within this site. Um, So this whole notion of manually importing listings may not work well, and I don't think it'll work in this particular iteration of the site. It could be a future kind of feature. As an alternative, what I think could still work is you could put a featured place. So, and the idea behind this is that um, first of all, if you were to go to a place and say Oxford House, this could be one of the featured places that would show up here on the home page. Now, if that's the case, naturally listings would say featured places, and the images would instead take the user to a place. And on top of that, I think just simply for the sake of this iteration and it's just kind of growing, I think the simplistic way to do it initially and then see how it works would be to include the featured places universally. So you have two options here. What I'm proposing is that you have the featured listings that now would be featured places that you would see on the home page. Um, but this featured places would become a universal element initially. So that would mean that the same featured places you would see on the home page would also appear on every single featured places area within every single neighborhood. That is to say, there's about 27 neighborhoods, I believe. So on every single one of those neighborhoods pages, it would have the exact same featured places area. Um, what essentially this would help in doing as well is that as you're building up your places, you don't have to worry about going into every single neighborhood and having enough places for them to be featured. I just, again, this is me kind of speaking out of not knowing how many places are in every neighborhood or how many you'll have initially, but as a safeguard and as sort of an initial test feature, that initially it would just be pulling featured listings. So let's say you did actually just put four at a time instead of having this scroll. Um, and then we could see how the scrolling function would work. But I'm saying if you had four to begin with, and then out of all your neighborhoods, you highlighted four of the featured places. Well, then those four featured places would show up throughout. It would perpetuate through the entire site. So in every single neighborhood, it would just be highlighting those four featured places. It'll be much easier to manage. It'll be a much centralized management. So you would be able to go to that specific place on your back end and check a box that says include this in the featured places. So I think that would be, from a management standpoint, I think it would be a lot easier to handle. And then also from an inventory standpoint, if you don't have that many places within a neighborhood to feature, it would also be, I think, a very logical solution to start small. It's always, you can always enhance things later. The question is kind of, building features that perhaps are not needed at this point. So again, the featured listings won't be possible to do because we're doing the search listings from a page. A. B. Uh, the suggestion of making this featured places. C. Having only a set amount of featured places represented globally throughout the site. So in this example, let's say you picked four places, which you would select from the back end, just putting that out there. You would select that from the back end, but it would display those four featured places on every single featured places within every single neighborhood. So in every neighborhood, it also will have featured places, and it would have those four same featured places on every single neighborhood footer here. Okay, does that make sense? So those are the points that I wanted to bring to your attention, and kind of if a decision could be made on that, that we can all agree on that, that then that would just make this section logical. Because when I get to actually building out this section on the back end, I won't be sitting there kind of, well, I wonder if I should do it this way or that way. But we've kind of fleshed out the plan, if you will, this initial plan for how to take care of this featured area now. Thank you.